Many times, the answer to some of the challenges that you face as an SAP maintenance user lies in just one key on the SAP system. Today, I want to be talking about a very unique key that many maintenance users, like maybe the team leads or maintenance planners, don't even recognize that these keys are present on the system. Now, this key is called the construction type, and normally it is found when you open the equipment page. So I'm going to open up an equipment page and show us how this key looks like. We're going to be using the EC screen today to demonstrate this illustration. So I'm going to click on create. Let me use the change. So I'm going to click on change equipment. Now, the construction type is normally located under the structure tab. So I'm going to click on the structure, and this is the construction type. Now, the question is, what is the construction type? A lot of people confuse this construction type to the equipment bill of material. Now, we're going to be seeing the difference between these two and how to create one on the system using Mr. John's scenario. Mr. John is the head of a maintenance team, and his team manages a variety of pumps that are used for either carrying crude oils, chemicals, or waters. And this platform that the company has uses over 10 identical centrifugal pumps. So they have the same brand, they have the same model across the platforms, and these pumps all share the same components, meaning that pump 1 is going to have seals, is going to have bearings, and pump 2 is obviously going to be having seals and going to be having bearings at the same time. If your story is like Mr. John's own, or you have faced the kind of scenario where you have similar type of equipment, and these similar equipment items share the same bill of materials. Now, you would agree with me that if we want to follow the conventional way of creating the bill of material using the equipment BOM, you would obviously have to create these materials over and over again just to attach it to that equipment structure. Now, we are going to be seeing how Mr. John can be able to reuse a single bill of material for all of the pumps across his platforms. So what are we talking about? We are only going to create one prototype. So what we are going to be doing is that in the construction type field, we are going to be assigning a material master to the equipment. Before we decide to want to use the construction type or the equipment bill of material, it is important to note that you need to make sure that it's an equipment that is capable of having a material master. Now, if that equipment doesn't have a material master on the system, it is advisable to make use of the equipment bill of material. Why? Because the construction type normally works with the material. Let's take, for instance, I want to select a construction type. When I click on this button over here, automatically it takes me to the page where I can be able to see a whole lot of my materials that already have material masters maintained on them. So what he has to pay attention to is if his equipment has a material master or not. If the equipment doesn't have a material master, a material number, then he would obviously have to use the equipment bill of material. In a few seconds, we're going to be jumping into how to create this. Let's go. Now, to do this, the first thing Mr. John is going to do, like we previously said, is to maintain a material master for the equipment. So in this situation, we're going to be creating a material master for his pump. So yes, he has 10 pumps scattered around his platform, but we're only going to use just one pump. Because this one pump has the same descriptions, so we're going to navigate to the MM01. So now he already has his material number created, which is the pump that we have maintained on the system. So what he is going to do next is to create a bill of material. Now, because we are creating a bill of material against a material, unlike the equipment bill of material, it has a one-to-one relationship, but here it has an end-to-one relationship. Why? Because I can be able to create just one material and then tie this bill of materials to that one material. So what we're going to do now is to navigate to the create material bill of material application. So when we get to the app, we'd have to open this up. Now this is what we have created. This is the material master and the material number for the Waukesha pump. So what we're going to do now is to maintain all of the bill of material components that are going to be associating to this pump. So because these pumps, they are 10 in numbers and they are scattered across the platforms, we already know that they share the same components within them. So we are going to look out for components that we can use. So here we have put our bearings, and then let's put the second component. We are going to be assuming that we have just three components, two components. Okay, so we're going to be assuming now that we have the bearings and the couplings, and maybe these are just the bill of materials that we want to maintain. Okay, so after doing this, we're going to just go ahead to save. Now we have created the bill of materials for this material. Okay, so what we're going to do now is to go ahead to create the equipment. Okay, so the equipment that we are creating now would obviously be the pumps. That's what we are creating. Okay, but of course I know that we have already maintained a material master as the pumps, but that's because we want to make use of the construction type. So we have to create a material master for that equipment item. Okay, so what we're going to do is to go back to create the equipment as the pump on the system. So here I'm going to call it pump 1. Now we already know that we have 10 pumps, right? So I'm going to call this pump 1, and I would maintain my location data quickly. So for the sake of these tutorials, I'll just maintain just few items on this field, maintain the plant section, and I'll maintain my work center, put my ABC indicator. And then just like what we stated, Mr. John would have to navigate to the structure tab. Now on the structure tab here, we can see the construction type. Now this is where the magic happens. In the construction type, we are going to link this pump to the material that we have already created. So I'm going to put this material here. This is the material number that we created for the Waukesha pump. Now remember that this material is not only existing at this moment, but it's existing with the bill of materials that have been tied to it. So this one material already, we have assigned a material bill of material to it. So it's taking the number alongside the material bill of materials number as well. So what we're going to do here is to go ahead to save this equipment to create it. Now we have created our equipment, so I'm just going to come here and click change. So let us attach it to the structure real quick. So I'll click on structure, go down to change installation location, and then I select where I want this to be. So I'm just going to select a particular functional location where I want to store it, and I'll put it here and click save. And then I've saved this. Okay, Now we're going to create the pump 2, right? So I'll go back and click on create. Now we are creating pump 2. So we're going to do the same thing. We'll maintain the location data and then put our plant section, our work center, ABC indicator, and any other fields that you would also want to maintain on the system. Now we'll navigate to the structure tab, and then on the construction type, we would have to select the material that we have created like we did before, and then we save. Traditionally, what would have normally done if this material didn't have a material master data, okay, what we would have done was to create an equipment and then go further to create an equipment bill of material. But that would have cost Mr. John a lot of stress. Why? Because he would have to do this individually across all of the plants. But what construction type does is to have just one material master, and then this material master is linked to an equipment item. But before it is linked to an equipment item, it is first of all tied to its bill of materials, okay, before it is linked to an equipment item. So real quick, let us attach this in the structure and display the structure for us to see what we have done. So I'll click on enter, go to structure again, change installation location, select the functional location that I would want it to be on. I'll put this here and then I will save. So let's see what we have done on this structure. I'm going to navigate to my functional location because I have attached it to a superior structure, and then navigate to structural display. So I want to see the equipment installed, hierarchy, and then the bill of material explosion, and I'll click on enter. So let's see how this displays on the SAP system. So we can see that on explosion of this functional location that we have tied it to, we have our pump 1 and our pump 2. Now let us see if it has the same bill of materials replicated in the both of the pumps. So I'm going to open this here. Now this is the material master that we had created with the material number, okay, and then I would open up this, and these are the bill of materials. So you can see that we only created these materials, tied it to this. The same thing is going to be replicated on this same pump. Why? Because we use the same construction type. So because of the construction type that we had selected and then selected the material number, there is no need for us to do a repetitive creation of the bill of material. But like I said, Mr. John can only do this if he has a material master existing for that equipment. But of course, if you would also want to do this even if an equipment master is not existing for it, you can as well just create a standing material master, and then just for the sake of linking these particular components to it, and then link them to the material master. But these are questions that he has to answer first before he decides that this is what he wants to do. Now, this is a very wonderful method of creating bill of materials for similar equipment items that are having the same brand, the same capacities scattered all around, and then obviously have the same bill of material. This helps you a lot and saves you a lot of time. So anytime you are faced with such a scenario like Mr. John, always remember that you have the construction type that can be able to help you create just one item for as much equipment as you want.